Okay, I guess we're live, so we'll see what happens. We are live, and we have a few people are going to join us in the studio. I'm Mike McCool, and with me is Rick Novak here on my right. William Huck is in the middle, where we always stick Willie. So the whole idea of this today is, there's been a lot of talk in the property owners groups that we're talking about Main Street, open, close, decorating the gazebo, people just using it, closing the parking. It's just been going on since the summer, since we've done all these things. So what we want to do is kind of get a consensus of property owners and community people in general that want to see what we can do to improve our community, to make it better. When people come down, beautification is everything. I think one of the main topics we want to talk about today is decorating around the gazebo. It's not something the town does. That's done by businesses and community leaders that have taken it upon themselves just to do that. So there's been some pushback I hear from the town that they don't really want it, or they got their own ideas. So we can discuss that, and hopefully the town will watch our discussion here. So I've got, let me go ahead and put some people on the screen here, and let's see what happens. We're going to add Sue Lawrence is with us. Looks like Arlene Link is with us. And Scott Turnmeyer is with us. Can everybody hear us okay?
Sure can.
All right.
Yes.
Well, I can hear you. Well, we don't want to, if you start getting echo, let us know. And this is kind of a new thing for us to try. So let us, look, hold on here. This is all. Let me see what we can do. Leave the background, turn the background off here. So hold on here. We got to figure out what we're doing wrong.
It's hard to be the engineer.
I know it is difficult because it's crazy. So
we wear many hats, don't we, Willie?
Okay, we're somebody else.
We're wearing many hats. So anyway, everybody can hear, so we're good. And so what we want to do is, I've got the microphones muted for Sue here. I can't unmute because, okay, they've muted themselves. Okay. So let me see here. Let me see if Scott, let me speak up, see if I can hear you here.
Yep. Hi, everybody.
Okay.
Hey, Scott. I hear you a whisper because Mike's got you down really low on his.
Okay, I'll talk really loud. How about that?
Nah, we're good. We'll see how that goes.
What?
Okay. All right. So, Willie, you kind of talked about things to begin with, and we had a talk. So let me just, there we go. So we're good to go.
We got it good.
Yeah. So let's.
I don't do all that technology stuff.
I know. So we're going to play with this and see what happens.
That's why I'm in here.
Okay.
Last year, the pandemic hit us in March. We were in some discussions of what to do and how to do things in the downtown area of Front Royal, and all that kind of got put on to the wayside when the pandemic hit. And then it was, let's close Main Street, and it was closed for every weekend, unbeknownst to the business owners or the people living on Main Street. We didn't know that was the idea when we got into this. Well, as we move forward, many people came together to have different ideas and different events. Every weekend was tough. Every weekend was tough. And then we got to a point where we decorated in the gazebo area, and the decorations in the gazebo area brought smiles and happiness through all over. I mean, the joy of watching the kids and the families run around and taking pictures and broadcasting those pictures all over the place showed us in a different light, showed us in a positive way. And we continued that through the Christmas season. So, I wanted to take that one step further. It's 2021. It's a new year. We've got pretty much every single month something going on that we can decorate into the gazebo area. And it doesn't cost one person a lot of money, doesn't cost the town anything. And it's beauty. It looks good. People come out. When you see something that's beautiful to you, and you can take a picture and you can share in that moment and share that with everybody else, they start seeing that. When you see your community in a positive light, then you're gonna raise your community up. And by doing that, everybody else wants to come be a part of us. And so that's one of the things I really want to push on right now is how can we get everybody together and simple decorations that's tastefully done. We don't anything obscene or whatnot, and move forward with that. Then you're going into the closure of Main Street by taking these decorations and these themes, then we can get on board to do one big event a month, twice a month. I mean, that you're on different levels. Do we do it every weekend? Do we do it once a month? Do we do it once every 2 months? How do we do things? What do we do? That's what we need to understand from the business owners on Main Street and in the downtown area, and get the town to come in and talk to us. There's a cost for that. There's a cost for the closure of Main Street. I understand that the town put out a lot of money last year for the closure of Main Street.
Right.
They need to be reciprocated for that. So if we're going to do this once a month or we're going to do this twice a month, then we're all going to need those of us that are willing to participate in this. We're going to have to kick back something to the town to offset the cost to the town. It is not fair for the town to spend thousands of dollars solely on Main Street and not do for Jackson Street or not do for Royal Avenue or not do for Commerce Avenue. I get that, but Main Street is the heart of our community. Therefore, we can focus energy there, and then it spreads out at that point.
Well, the whole community idea of beautification is important in the whole area. When people drive in, I look at little things when I drive around town. What's the grass look like? They cut the grass, but they don't edge the sidewalks. And so the grass is growing over into the street. You might as well not cut the grass. I mean, that's just my own personal pet peeve. You know what I mean? But that's the kind of things I look at. The flowers are beautiful. They hang around on Main Street, and they do the intersections. I mean, the town spends a lot of money on beautification. And I think these decorations can be included. There's spots around town that the decorations could go into as well, other than just on Main Street. But it's going to take some coordination.
You got to start somewhere.
That's right. And I think it has to be, the town has to be a partner in this thing in order to really make it where we can put a schedule up that the decorations are going to be from, in January, they're going to be this, and they're going to run from this date to this date. Then we're going to change them. And in February, they're going to be this, and March, it's going to be something else. So they'll match a seasonal theme. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think that, as Willie said, the town closed the street, and I think they did it in reaction to trying to save the restaurants.
Right.
And then a lot of us, jumped in and did other things to try and help build, some.
Well, you did your safari weekend thing that was great. I mean, a lot of people came out. I mean, that during that week, I went downtown a couple times and interviewed all the guests and visitors to our town, and I didn't get one negative response of closing the street, and not from one business that I talked to. And I talked to 30 or 40 of them. And walked up and down Main Street with the camera. Of course, maybe they just, they want to tell me what I want to hear. But the people in the audience, they thought it was great, and they wish their town did it. And then you brought in an activity. You did some things at one end of the street. You did some things at the other end of the street, and it benefited everybody. I mean, it benefited you, but it also benefited everyone else because they jumped in on it. I know the safari activity you did, which was a decoration. I mean,
it was the Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. I'll get the right one, but they were safari.
It's okay for
old people.
I was playing jungle sounds on the street.
You're right, but then the trails they got involved in it, and the restaurants got involved in it. They made Jurassic Park drinks and meals, and I mean, so I think it was a good community event.
Now, listen, everybody was doing all sorts of things, extending themselves, investing in additional equipment and ideas and stuff to try and survive. Just so you know, Jurassic Park didn't make any money, but it was a line in the sand for me.
Sure.
Like, hey, I'm not going to go down without a fight.
Right.
And we'll have them back whenever they decide to release the next Jurassic Park.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's see if anybody else wants to join in on the conversation here. Sue is raising her hand here, so let's just see if I can figure out how to do this. We'll see here. Hold on a minute.
I'm going to fill while you do that. All right, Mike.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that, like for me, I had no idea exactly how the decorations were happening.
Sure.
All right. So I just like, oh, those look nice. They're fun. So I think going forward, and I have no objection to any decoration that was ever placed up or anything, but going forward, perhaps we need to work on a public-private partnership for that, so the town's comfortable with what's happening on their property, but it doesn't get all bogged down by bureaucracy. All right, and I'm saying the town was not bureaucratic at all for this pandemic stuff. It was very, very encouraging to see how entrepreneurial they became. But we need to try and take some of that energy going forward and work on, if we just pick, an item, decorations.
All right, Sue, you want to jump in there? We'll get you on the screen here and we'll see how that works. Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
I just wanted to say everything you said is completely exactly correct. Everybody pitched in. All the people that were on Main Street, people that were not on Main Street. The town did a lot of decorating through the year, but a lot of that came from our own pockets, and none of us benefited personally from the things that were done there. We did it because we needed to bring people to the community. We needed to bring people to town, and we heard many, many times, all of us heard, it's great to come down here. I haven't been here for years. I didn't know what was going on down on Main Street. We thought this area was just antique shops or dead. So having the decorations out there was a big plus. And the minute they went up, anytime for Halloween, for the Easter, for the Thanksgiving, people smiled, people took pictures, and the community feeling increased. And I think that's one of the things that we'd like to keep moving forward with. Just that feeling of having people come down and be happy to be in our town and come to visit us.
Oh, that sounds good. All right. Anyone else want to jump in here?
Yeah, I'll jump in there. So I was actually, we were on South Street at last year when all this happened. We just moved to Main Street, so we're kind of the new kids on the block, I guess to say. But we paid attention to it. We were in different meetings and stuff, and we always try to help out. But the one thing I want us all to remember is, yes, I think it's fantastic, the decorations. You can't have too much community spirit, and to grow that's fantastic. But Mike, you alluded to one thing during the Jurassic Park weekend. When you talked to the people that were there, you said most of them said they wish their town did it. So that meant there was a lot of tourists down there. There was not a lot of locals down there. So the decorations and stuff is fantastic to bring both down there. But the town and county are also working together in coordination right now that's kicking off this year in a new tourism effort. And so all of us businesses have to get behind that. There has to be one message, and whatever we're doing, we need to work together on that, because it's just it will multiply whatever dollars are put in by the town, by the county, by the businesses. It's just going to multiply that by 10 or 20 fold. So whatever we do, and I agree with the decorations, I agree with all that stuff. We just need to get together and move in the same pathway. That way we're not fighting each other. We're actually complementing each other.
So Scott, how do we do that? Because you're talking about that, but I have no idea about it. And by the way, as somebody who's trying to keep my business alive, and two businesses, the theater and the bowling center, I don't have a lot of time to search for issues that are going on. So I feel like if the town and the county are working on that, they need to figure out a way to be in my face about it. And I mean that in a positive way, so that I do jump on board and that they tell me about it in advance so that I can do some kind of planning.
So,
because I'm not always ready to do stuff.
And
The Jurassic Park thing just kind of came up, but it took a month and a half or 6 weeks at least to to pull that off. Sue
I
wants something.
totally agree. And so Rick, I agree. And I've mentioned that exact same thing many, many times. I'm actually now on the Joint Tourism Council, and that's one of the main pushes I'm going to make sure we do. I know the proposal that went out and the company JLL that was hired, I know that was part of it, that they need to be that liaison between. They need to make sure that all the businesses are informed of this, and they have to devise a way of doing that.
I mean, the easiest way I could think of would be to collect emails.
Absolutely.
And I get tons of emails. I don't really want another one, but I do look at my email every day. I might not look at Facebook every day. I know you do. You're an awesome Facebook promoter, but there's lots of us that might not go near Facebook.
That's
Willie's
right.
a great Facebook promoter. Sue wants to get in on the conversation. Do you? Are you raising your hand?
I do.
Go. All right, go, guys. Sorry, Mike.
Sue,
I'm having a hard time hearing, so forgive me if I keep disappearing. The problem with just emailing everybody is not everybody looks at email or not everybody has email. And we've been trying, I'm just the administrator of one Facebook group. And we've been trying to get the information out to everybody by walking up and down the street or asking people to share it and asking people to pass that information out to their friends, their neighbors, whomever. We aren't the end all be all to information here. And we've tried for the last year to find the best way to get the information out, which is why we're doing the town talk. Because if this is a regular thing, if everybody can jump on just once a week or see it sometime later on in the week, they'll know what's being said, they'll know what's being talked about. You can leave comments on it, you can give your input, and that information can be assembled. We do have to be a unified voice. We do have to all get together on something. We're not all going to agree. There are so many people that just keep saying, this can't happen because I'm not benefiting, because everything we do is not going to benefit everybody. And everything the town does doesn't benefit everybody. When there were other things happening, the influencers weekend, a lot of us didn't know about it until that day or the day before. And there was nothing that we could do at that point to get
But
that
you're making my
information
point
out.
for me. So I think this is a
I
great
can't hear
thing.
you. I'm sorry.
All right.
So
Hi.
Rick, I'll jump back in real quick now, then I'll let Arlene go. So Rick, I
Thank
totally
you.
agree with the email list. I think, Sue mentioned not everyone has email, but not everyone has Facebook, just like you said, Rick. So
Agree.
it's 2021. And I think anyone who has a business, if they want to be in the know, they need to have an email address. And I think that the town needs to say, this is how we're going to let you know of things. And if you want to know what's going on, you need to subscribe to this email list. I mean, it's 2021. Get a Gmail or something like that. It's not difficult to do.
Yeah, you make one big effort to collect most of them, and then
That's
you'll
it.
get the majority of them, and then after that, then and then it'll have some momentum, hopefully. right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the one reason why we wanted to put this on the Royal Examiner, because, you post something to town, post something to Facebook. I follow them. I never see it. The police put something on there. I follow them. I never see it till I see it where someone makes a comment.
Well, Scott's a really good Facebook person. Maybe he can tell me how to fix my Facebook, but I believe their algorithms, where it used to be, hey, you go out and get a ton of friends and they'll see all your stuff. And then
Used to be that
Facebook
way.
said, we're
You
not
can
going to
make
let
some
you
money
have
on
that
that.
anymore.
That's right, exactly.
And so now only maybe 10% of your friends
Right,
see
right.
that. And I don't know how you work around that, or if you can work around that. That's why that's an imperfect vehicle, but it is an important vehicle. I use it. Willie uses
We
it.
all have to.
Mike
use
uses it.
it. Let
right.
Arlene have her speech.
So we
Well-
do need to use it, but we can't expect that it is going to be received by everybody,
Exactly.
unless they go. Like if I go to, say, the Front Row of Business Owners group, if I make the time to remember to go there
to
to
that
look
page
at, see the
if you
post,
don't see it.
but otherwise it's not going to organically always show up in my feed.
Well, and I mean, there's
The World Examiner does every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Arlene has.
Go ahead,
something
Okay,
she
Arlene wants to
say.
jump in
Okay.
here. Let's see what she's got to say
Right.
here. Hold on just a minute.
Thanks. When this all started and when we had that advertising agency in here in town promoting our tourism, I contacted them. I contacted the town. I talked to the mayor and said, communication is the main thing that we need. And having all these different Facebook pages, all these different groups is not helping. We needed one central location. And they agreed with me. But they never really followed through on it. And hopefully going forward now with Mike's help, that we'll have that one central location where everything gets put so everybody can see it. We all need to work together and helping each other. I saw people coming out when we closed down Main Street. Might not have been the best for everybody, but help businesses. I'm not on Main Street. I'm down the other end of town, but I participated the weekends that I could, and it improved our business. And I can, for somebody to say they did not get any benefit from it, I don't see that. If you put the effort into it, you're going to get the benefit. And as far as the emails and Facebook, you have to be proactive. If I didn't participate in Main Street or get involved with the chamber and get involved with my community, I would have not known any of this was going on.
Right.
So
Well, that's
let's
the
work
one thing-
together.
Yeah. Yeah. Sue?
So there are businesses that are on the second floor of some of these buildings. They're also benefiting from Main Street closure or from the things that are happening downtown. Code Ninjas just opened up. The Women's Resource Center is there. Wildfire Yoga. They've all participated in everything that we've done, and they've benefited because people get to know where they are. It's that you can't drive by and see their businesses. You have to actually either know where they are or walk past them to get to them. And I think
Right.
if you ask any of those people, they'd agree. Just having that access to see their buildings or to see their businesses listed has been a plus for them.
And the closing of Main Street, it brought people down off the mountains that we never saw before. It wasn't just tourists. It
Right,
was people
right,
in our
exactly.
community that never came to Main Street because they didn't know what we had. But once we
So-
started advertising it,
So,
they came down.
so Arlene, I'm going to say, and I said this to Willie when the street was closed. Hey, closing the street, let's do it. Let's survive this thing. All right. And
Right.
let's help the restaurants, hopefully help ourselves, hopefully help other businesses. But for me, I just want to, be on record, and I don't. We're not making any decisions here
Not at
today,
all.
but I just want to be on record to say that closing Main Street is not going to be healthy for my business.
Right.
I've
I'm
been
not
on,
saying-
at record at many public forums. And we have this wonderful gazebo area that the town is investing a lot of money in right
And we're
now.
getting a new pavilion
That's
eventually.
what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And so, but we need to have some public forums, and everybody needs to weigh in this, not the just the 6 people that are on this thing, or however many there are of us.
Right.
And everybody needs to have an opportunity to talk about it. And we need to develop something that is good for everybody.
No, I agree.
So some of the obstacles we have had is if we focused every event on Main Street strictly to the gazebo area, then we have people say, well, nobody's walking down, everything's down the street. If we
Right.
focus it up and down Main Street, it's not always going to be a financial gain to any of us. We're not guaranteed, even on a sunshiny day that's 90 degrees outside, does not guarantee that they're coming into the ice cream shop to have ice cream. On a day that is a nice day and we got 1,000 people in there, it's no guarantee that they're going to go into the movie theater and have it. But statistically speaking, nationwide, the more people that walk your main streets, the more opportunity you have to increase your business with those people. We have a lot of small towns nationwide that through 2020 and through 2019, we're trying to get this concept off the ground. And in 2020, they did. Some communities have thrived with the closures of streets to bring different businesses together. Some of them have failed tremendously trying to do this because there's no cohesive cooperation.
So I would say one of the things that made the Main Street closure work for a lot of people, and Arlene mentioned it, is they came down and
That's right.
they participated, or they just came out from behind their windows and doors.
Bingo.
And they got in people's faces with some sort of compelling story or demonstration or whatever.
Right.
I'm not sure we need to close the street to do that. A year ago, we were having forums at the community center with the town, and I shared with everybody, my personal or professional story for Main Street, and that's that. When I bought that business on Main Street 26 years ago, there was a mushroom festival, which turned into a wine festival.
Right.
And there was the Festival of the Leaves. Those were the two festivals. I knew that. Right. Well, just so you know,
And parade,
the parade's fine, but that's a,
they closed the whole,
Yeah.
for a whole
but
day.
so
right.
so when those festivals happen, my business gets cut like in half. All right.
For that one day.
For that one day.
For that one day.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, for that
Okay,
that
okay.
one day. So I have always viewed that as an opportunity for me to promote my business to the people that are coming down to that street for that one day.
That's
Right.
it.
I haven't done it in a while, but we had some pretty amazing things happen in front of the theater during the wine festival some years. I mean, I brought in tigers from a animal sanctuary, and it was the year of Tarzan. So that was a long time ago.
Right,
But
right,
anyway, I won't dominate the conversation any longer to say that
But
that
that's the
is
point, Rick. That's the point. If you are closed for that one day because Main Street's closed for that one day, go out, bring people in, let them know that you're there. It doesn't have to be a benefit to every business every time. Closing Main Street over Halloween and Christmas didn't benefit my business because I was out on Main Street doing things and there was nobody in there selling things. Didn't help me at all.
Right.
But I was
Well,
out
that's
there
called
for the
that's
community.
called promotion. So when you have 1,000 or 2,500 people on Main
synergy,
Street,
energy.
you need to be out there handing out coupons, brochures, telling people about your activities. Like in your theater case, I mean, hey, here's a coupon. I can remember years ago when there was another ice cream shop and that has closed, and I says, what are you, we had the gazebo area packed with people. So they closed because there was activities going on. And I said to him, aren't you going over there passing out coupons, buy one, get one, bring two in, get a hat, do something. No, they didn't do it. So, it's just you got to take advantage. No one will, if you don't blow your own horn, no one's going to do it for you. And I think a lot of places think the town is going to do it or somebody else is going to do it for them, but it doesn't work. I mean, you have to get out there and promote yourself.
So,
Yes,
so Mike,
Scott.
let me jump in for a second if you don't mind. I mean,
Register your business.
yeah,
No
I
matter
mean,
who's doing it for our
you know-
tourism department, it falls back on us as business owners
All right.
to look out for our own selves, to look out for
Let's-
our own businesses.
All
And
right, let's
that's
get Scott. Scott's going to jump in here.
but thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. So basically, in my life in 20 some years doing IT, we do a lot of requirements gathering, and that's what this is. This is gathering requirements and making a decision, right? That's really what this is. And one thing that you always realize is you're not going to solve for 100%. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing. They're just trying to solve for 100%. And the only thing that happens is the can just keeps getting kicked down the road and nothing ever happens. You try to solve for 80%. And if you can get higher than that, then that's fantastic. So what we've got to do is there's a lot of discussions on this. There's been a lot of discussions on this. We need to come to a resolution on this. We need to come to an agreement. So there needs to be a path forward. We can have this same meeting every single week and talk about the same stuff every single week. My concern is everything's valid. Everyone's saying completely valid. I agree with every bit of it. let's talk about how we move forward, right? You know, how do we do that? Can we do 2 public forums? Can we get everyone's email address and send a survey to all those involved? Let's just start trying to get everyone's input so we can make that decision, have a cadence, have a plan, and everyone knows what's happening.
Right. Well, you know, I think what I'm hearing is the town needs to control the schedule, and we need a schedule of actually events going on. We need to know what our decorations are going, what's our beautification plan, and they need to put it out in a way that everybody knows what's going on way in advance, not 14 hours before it happens, right?
Agree.
So I think that's never, there's a comment here, not having a Christian says, not having a standard form of communications for the past 30 years is silly. There's one of his comments. And that is so true in any kind of organization. In your own business marketing plan, what are you going to do next month? Most of us don't even think about what we're going to do next month. We worry about that 2 days before when the theater is empty. What are we going to do to fill it? Instead of thinking, how am I going to fill it next month or next year or next 5 years? What's our industry doing? So I think that's the plan. And I can see the town said, hey, we have a beautification, decoration, and it's all part of our tourism plan, but businesses you have to sell it to the community. They have to buy into it. And I can tell you right now, there's a lot of businesses that are not buying into to our tourism program, however broad that may be. It goes like about our block grant. You know, we didn't have that was controlled by the town, and I don't think it turned out the way. Was a lot of turmoil happened during that time. So those are kind of projects that needs to be addressed. You know, that's where the town's got to take a leadership role, and they can't just.
Listen, the block grant was controlled by the feds.
Well, it is. It's
all
true.
right, no, Mike, I'm just sorry. The town saved the block grant.
Well, they did.
All right, so I just want you to know, I got bids for my building to just mostly paint the front of the building and do a couple of other things.
Right.
And they were close to $50,000.
Right.
All right, I'm going to get that job done for, I don't know, $5,000, $10,000. All right. So feds screw things up.
They do.
All right.
They do.
Because they're federal standards. You got to do your brush up and down this way instead of this way.
It's a Davis-Bacon Act.
I know exactly what it is. It's paying people 3 times as much as what they're worth in the market that they're working.
Right. Right.
All right. And
only reason I said something about the town, you know, we had a change.
The town saved us
at the end. They did it.
No, I'm telling you, they saved it.
But at the beginning, there was turmoil. I'm saying we lost 3 or 4 people.
I mean, I'm defending it, but just remember, it started in 2016.
That's
okay,
right.
It's taken 4 to 5 years now,
and that's mostly the feds
to get this
Right.
moving.
But it was supposed to be a 2-year project.
I understand, but it didn't really get going until the beginning of the pandemic.
That's right. When all of a sudden the money got turned.
Yeah,
But it's just an example of where it needs to be scheduled and controlled from a central point. That's maybe the point I'm trying to make.
But sometimes they're out of your control. Like honestly, the town folks and consultants, they were waiting for the people to write the check.
Right.
And if you control the money, you control the process.
That's called the golden rule. Those are the golden
That's
rules.
why mostly I prefer to not do that.
Exactly.
This is the first time I've been totally invested in the process because there seemed to be a significant amount of money.
Right.
But chasing peanuts for having to do process that doesn't make sense.
Well, this process we're talking about is locally controlled.
Well, I'm all for it.
Okay.
But we need to figure out an effective way to have this process so everybody, or as Scott said, 80% of the people have buy-in. Without buy-in, you're doomed.
Right.
Mike.
In the game, you're done.
Mike,
Right.
can you put some of the
You
other
get
comments
late
up on the
night
screen?
texts about what's going on.
All right.
Or early morning
Early
texts.
morning texts.
Let's see,
It
Sue.
can ruin your day.
All right, Sue, what would you say in there?
I said, can you put some of I saw some other comments flash up there and we want to get their comments up.
Bring more people in.
I put up all the comments, and I can put something up here and show you that we're having a few people make some comments here. Kelly says 1 or 2 days a year is different than closing every weekend. That's true. I mean, there's no argument with that.
We're not going to make any decisions here today.
No.
And Willie and I are good buddies, and we totally disagree on the street closure. All right.
100% disagree on that.
Right.
I mean, you brought up a point earlier that you were okay with the Wine and Craft Fest or the Mushroom Fest, and you were okay with the Festival of Leaves. But you were one of my biggest proponents when I came to town and started Family Fun Day, because it was a new event.
No,
And we've gone back and forth, and I've got documentation that you say no, and I've always been good with that. Some of these others, parking has always been an issue. We know that we've beat that horse to death. So that's why we need these forms, so we can start moving forward. We don't need to beat this. Arlene, yes, she's not on Main Street any longer. She's off of Main Street. She's come to Main Street. It's hard to do, so she can't do every time. We know that, okay? And we appreciate and respect that. What I'm asking for is that we all just have some type of roadmap. Okay, this is what we are going to do. This is how often that we will agree to. Some will want every weekend. I'm going to tell you right now, every weekend, I can't do every weekend. I burned myself out in 2020, and I'm just like trying to do every weekend. But that's what was given to us. And since that's what was given to us and laid on the table, we had to do with what we were given. And so we made the best of it. And all of us came together. Now all of us have a lot of ideas and saw the positives and the negatives that we put into these events last year, what worked and what didn't work. So now we need to take that information and streamline it into 2021. Okay, you want once a month? If you weren't willing to do it at all, now you're willing to do once a month. This person wanted every single week because that's what benefited. And as you said, it was for the restaurants initially. Well, when they came down and the restaurant seatings were full, what did they do? They walked up and down Main Street to see what else we have there while they were waiting on their tables to become available for them. Therefore, it was beneficial to everybody, not necessarily financial in your pocket. This is $5 that you can see right now, but oh, wow, they may have come back the next week to patronize your shop. And that's what it's about. It's about keeping a streamlined, positive message going out there at all times. So that's what we need to come to understanding. All of us are going to be, I'm going to be stuck with this. I want once a month or I want twice a month. And there's no, I don't want it at all. We need to change that. Okay. It's not about my business. It's not about your business. It's not about her business over there. It's not about his business off of Main Street. It's about all of us coming together and say, this is a common deal. This is what we can all get behind. And if you want to do an event this weekend, then these are the dates that we've got Main Street closed. So we can go in and fill. Like, yeah, I'm going to use Family Fun Day as an example since I brought that up. That's Mother's Day weekend. That's in May. That's also the weekend. That's also the same month that we have the Wine and Craft Fest. That was a big proponent. But then you go back to March. There's nothing really happening in March. Is March too cold for us to shut Main Street? Or is the weather going to be decent enough? If it's going to be decent enough, you got St. Patty's Day. So why not put a little green up or have something fun? You've got Easter in April. April's always going to have Easter. Father's Day is always going to be in June. July 4th is always going to be in July. So we have things that we can capture, that we can use as a structure to move forward in the planning on some of the events and the things that we want to do. We don't have to have Main Street closed every single week with thousands and thousands of people down here. Sure, it would be nice, because thousands and thousands of people do bring money to everybody, but we need to have some type of structure and understanding. Yes, I know parking is an issue. I know that closing Main Street every single weekend is an issue. That's a big issue. I'm not here to say we want this every single weekend, but I need some direction on where we can go. So I know for advertisement, so you know for advertisement, so our tourism directors that are coming in will understand this is what the town people want, and we can capture this to promote that to everybody else. This is a schedule of what we are going to be doing in Front Royal. Not only do we have the hiking and the horseback and the canoeing, but we also have these events, and this is the layout of what they are. That's what
I agree. I agree completely
Our
with you.
businesses are seasonal.
that's right.
Right.
Mine is one of them.
All right. So
Willie, I completely
uh,
agree with you. But we
why-
also need.
sorry.
So it's,
Scott.
come on in.
That's okay. Willie, I completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. But there's one thing that a lot of people haven't been asking for that we must have as well, and that's data, right? A lot of people are saying, I want this, I want that, I don't want this, I don't want that. When we go through and decide this, we also have to determine how we get data. The marketing firm is going to get data. They're going to ask for data. The council should be asking for data. We should be making decisions on data, right? Right now, we don't have data. It's in the pandemic as well. So whatever data we did have last year is probably not worthwhile anyway.
We're the damn.
So going forward, we need to have a way to collect data. The businesses need to say, my sales dropped 20% when it's closed. My sales increased 20% when it's closed, right? Then we make informed decisions off of data, and it's not difficult to make those decisions, and it's not
Doesn't the
personal
town
decisions
tax
anymore.
office have that information from our sales?
What's that, Sue?
Doesn't the town tax office have that information from our sales? They get our sales. They get the restaurant sales every week, every month.
Yeah, but that's restaurant. I'm talking about retail. There's a lot of other businesses that are
They
in
get our
this.
sales every year. They should
I
be
mean,
able
I
to.
can sit there and tell you what my sales are in January and February and what the percent increase decrease is. And so when we're making those, when I come out and say, I recommend this, I always want to do it off of data. And, then if you're doing it off of data, the personal and the feelings aren't there as much. You've got the valid data. This is what it's showing you. It is what it is, right? Either it works or it doesn't work. That's just how it goes.
I'm gonna say that no matter what you do, no matter what decision is made, eventually, when it comes down to it, there will be people that say this isn't benefiting me because.
Of course. But what I'm saying is if they back that up with data, then it makes it even easier, and it might sway other people.
Yeah, those people need to have a voice as well, and that's what they've asked for. They don't want somebody, for example, Willie, to go into town and say, this is what I want. Nobody else can do anything else because this is what we're doing. That can't work for everybody. That doesn't work for Willie. It doesn't work for me.
So Sue, I'm going to jump in because I never said that. I never alluded to that. In fact, earlier in this conversation, I actually said, let's have forums and let's get everyone's email so we can
I'm not talking about you, Scott. This has come from weeks and weeks of people sending messages about how we can get the information out, how we can make this happen for everybody. We're not going to have a 100% opinion on anything, but what we can do is have a consensus where a majority of people say maybe we can do this, and we're not all going to be able to vote. It's not a democracy. This is just a town thing. Town talk is what this is about, so that we get the information out there.
Okay. Well, I don't think that had anything to do with what I was talking about, but I agree with you because I did say that 80%.
Getting the data out there, and that's one of the things that we can't do that ourselves. That has to be something that comes from either everybody needs to pitch in and send their information, which I'm not willing to do, or we can get that information from the town or from the county as far as the tax rules go.
So in one of the last forums, that was actually one of the things that the acting town manager asked for as well, Scott, and that was data. And that was trying to make decisions going forward, having data. And data can be hard to collect, but if you report your sales, your meals tax, your retail sales tax, the county will have data for the retail sales tax. The town will have data for the meals tax. And so at least you can track those two things, and they're not opinion based. They're actual what happened. And then you go back and look at it later. But then you have to have the forum to look at it and share the information.
Right.
So, developing, this forum or or I'm not sure what it's going to be or if it's going to be anything, if people can get together and do it and talk about it. But anyway, I think we're kind of off to, an interesting start this
An
morning.
interesting start. The more
Let me
we
get back to getting-
disagree, the more problems we solve.
Let me jump in here. What I've heard then is we really need a coordinated effort that everybody's aware of. And that's the first thing I think, that we need a coordinated effort. It needs to be tied to our tourism plan.
Yep.
It needs to involve businesses, and we
Yep.
need to have a way that readily available, instead of having 14 sources of where 23 sources, centralized. And that's why, of course, obviously the World Examiner has come in to be that place, and we hope that will work. And we've offered to give people that resource. But and I think we have the viewers of our community. Right now we have, we're getting 100,000 plus views every month. We have 8,300, 8,400 subscribers every day. Get a tickle. Every day we tickle you out. And like you
Yes,
say,
you do.
not everybody looks at Facebook. Not everybody's going to go to the town website unless they're reminded to go to the town website
Right.
to look at something. So
That's the
that's
thing.
where, we can tickle the public of what's going on in our community. We can tickle business owners. Hey, pay attention to this. It's coming up next month.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the town needs to kind of drive the boat, so to speak, to kind of organize it. And the one thing that I have noticed when you go back, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Rick, because I know you're good at that, but
Did
no.
he just slam me?
Sam,
Or did he compliment me?
Maybe a
Take it as a
A
compliment.
little bit of both there, Rick.
what happened? We come up with a plan of close Main Street for the thing, and when you wanted towards the end, we're going to close it to the end of November. One or two people, we don't want to have it closed. Well, now we're going to open it. Oh, now we're going to close it. No. When you have a schedule, people are going to make plans. You can't say we're going to be open till November and come back and later and say, well, we're going to open it up in a week. I mean,
So
regardless of what happened or
so
not, but the
listen.
concept of that.
So here's what I'll say about that. We had an interesting opportunity. I said this the other day to a manager at the bowling center. I said, this pandemic has been an awful thing that happened to us, to everybody.
Sure.
And some people have done great with it. If I
Walmart.
was a golf course or a big box
Right.
store,
Yeah.
and God bless them. I don't
Yeah, we
begrudge
need
them
them.
anything, right? We need that. But the pandemic was a gift. And it was we talked about it one of the first evenings down there on Main Street. And that I was like, Willie, if you told me you wanted to close the street, I'd say, hell no.
Right.
But you know what? The street's closed. So let's try everything that we can.
Any and everything we can.
Everything that we can. So it was a gift from that standpoint, in that got to try some things, and they were during a pandemic. So that doesn't mean they didn't work. It just
Bingo.
meant we got to try them.
Bingo.
Okay.
Right.
So we got to do some
And if
experiments.
the results, we didn't get much results, but
It was a pandemic.
What were the results of not doing it? We don't really know that.
No, we
because
don't.
We didn't have that opportunity.
No, we don't.
Right.
Another issue we need to look at is all of us are sitting around looking at this from a business level, and pretty much solely as a business level. Well, let's take ourselves out of that business role for a second, and let's be a citizen. The citizens of our community's voice is just as loud as the business voice of our community, and that needs to be heard too. When we had the meetings last year,
Mhm.
it was strictly business owners or building owners on the downtown area. It didn't allow any citizens input. So, we could sit here and say, we like this, this is what we want. But then you got 1,000 citizens that disagree with or that agree with, their voices aren't being heard. So we can start the dialogue here, but we also need to get their dialogue. Not only does closing Main Street affect the businesses on Main Street, we've got a lot of residential on Main Street.
Yes.
So part of the problem with parking on Main Street is a lot of the residents park on Main Street. I know
they're not supposed to.
they're not supposed to, but they do.
Well,
So,
they might park on Main Street to unload groceries
Well,
or something like that.
I've
right?
seen some.
So
park
they're allowed
there.
to park there for short term.
short
but not
short
overnight.
term, but not overnight, not
Right.
long term.
Right.
The tenants that
Right.
I have when I see that they've parked on Main Street for longer than a short period of time, I go up and knock on their door and say, "Hey, you've got parking out back.
Me too.
So let's get this vehicle parked out
I
back."
don't let
So
my
we have
employees
this.
park on Main Street.
My employees, they park out back. So it's not just the business owners. It's not just the town. This is all of us together, and we need to gather the input. The data is great. The data over the last few years wasn't collected, and I agree. Data in 2020 is not going to be good data for us to use moving forward, but it gave us a springboard opportunity to say, okay, these are some things that did work for us during the pandemic. So if they worked for the pandemic, they're worth trying when we no longer have a pandemic. That's all I'm saying. I'm not
Right.
saying we have the right answers.
Willie, you talked about the community. During the pandemic and the times that I was on Main Street, we talked to a lot of people that live in the area, people who live within a block or two of Main Street. I did not hear one negative thing from these people. They love the idea of being able to come down and walk up and down Main Street casually, getting to see all the different stores, other businesses that weren't on Main Street that participated. There was one gentleman who was fairly new to the area. He says, we have a unique Main Street because it's not a main thoroughfare. So having it closed once in a while is an asset that we have, and we should use it. I'm not saying every day or every weekend or once a month. It would be more
pretty
than
nice
enough.
sidewalks, though, Arlene.
I'm sorry, what?
I said we have some pretty nice sidewalks. I mean, the market, they could come out and do their display underneath their awning on the
I agree.
sidewalk.
Yes,
And that would
I
be,
agree.
now that will require some entrepreneurial thought on the part of the town, because now you're blocking the sidewalk. And so there's some things to deal with, but we have a great opportunity right now in that the town has demonstrated that they are feeling entrepreneurial about having, business survive. And so we need to harness that energy and the energy of everybody, on this call and that aren't on here, but want to be on here going forward. And we need to channel it.
Right.
Well,
No.
we started the conversation though, based on decorations. That was going to be our anchor point. And we talked about everything but decorations. But I think the point that we want to make I think the message we want to stress to the town is we think it's important to decorate around the gazebo. Is that correct?
It is.
Yes.
And so,
Yeah.
Can't
Sorry.
we all
if
agree
you
on
don't-
that
if
one
you
thing?
don't- when I say you,
So
if
let's
the
create a
town
decorating
doesn't let
committee.
us do it, if the town doesn't let us do it, are they going to do it? All I know is I think the message needs to go out to the town is we would love to have decorations at the gazebo at least. We can expand it to around town. We know we have limited budget, but if we have people willing to decorate, like in the past months or so, we did decorate around Christmas. That was done by Willie and several other people, and Sue and several other businesses around town that participated in that. Some participated with activity, some participated with some financial advantages, but it done, and not a single complaint from anyone. And it got put up, taken down, didn't cost the taxpayers any money. Now, if that's part of a program, that works great. But if it's not part of a program, I just think the town needs to say, hey, that was a good thing. Don't hinder us from doing it again.
Unless you
have a better idea.
You know that they are saying
Well,
that?
I don't know.
I'm not saying they are or they aren't.
No, I'm not saying that either.
But here's what I will say about volunteers. They burn out.
They do burn out.
Okay.
Willie can only be crazy once or twice a year.
Yeah, so
crazy all the time, but
Taking those
So
tables,
part of
taking
regular-
those tables in and out every weekend last year,
What's that?
over the summer, taking the tables up and down every week from the
Yeah.
gazebo area.
Oh, listen, it's just me showing a movie on Friday night and Saturday night,
That's a lot of work.
coming and taking the equipment out, bringing it back.
Right.
I mean,
So, can I just interject
we were-
something here while we're on this? A couple of the comments have been about putting things on a regular schedule. That's what we're looking to do. That's what we're looking to get a consensus on. Are we looking for once a month? Are we looking for twice a month? Does anybody want it all year round? Some of the town council members have said, let's close down Main Street all year round and make it a walking mall. I don't think any of us want that. And
No.
so I
So just as a person who owns my property and pays taxes on my property,
you don't want that.
it's not going to happen. Or they're
No.
going or
No, I agree.
or if they want to do that, they can reimburse me for the loss to my real estate value.
I don't want that.
No.
There's no way. And I
Fine.
just know it's a lot of work, whatever we decide to do for those people who are getting involved. It's not easy to make the decorations, put out the decorations,
Nope.
take the decorations back in. It's a lot of
So-
Willie
so
climbing up
what-
and down the
what
ladder
would you
every
work
weekend to put the banners in.
On the
Well,
low hanging fruit, which is the holidays that Willie
The
outlined
low-hanging
earlier.
fruit, which is the holidays.
You know, you start with that, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, you know,
4th of
et cetera,
July,
4th
yeah.
of July, and
If
you build stuff around that. That's great.
Right.
That's all.
one of the
it's-
things is trying to get our community involved too.
Right.
Right.
If we can get our schools, the high schoolers and then the art groups and stuff like that to help in participating, you know, we provide the wood and okay, this is what we want, create and put it out there. When I was on Main Street doing the love letters, you know, the amount of people that came up and wanted to participate and help paint, they each got to paint part of it. If we set that up, you know, for different holidays, I'm sure we would get the community involved.
Right.
That
I
would
think
be
that sounds
It's
great.
not just the
And
businesses.
that's the steps that we want to
We
go
want
in.
Main Street to be their Main Street.
That's right.
We actually we want to make Main Street a Main Street again.
That's right.
Right.
That's exactly what we
True.
want.
Well,
So
here's
instead of
a,
just
Make our Main Street great again.
a
right,
comment here
so,
though.
I don't know about that, but I mean,
Yeah,
if we
let
come
me read
together,
this comment you see I've had on the screen from Kelly. She said, so where do we go from here? When will we all meet? And I think that's
Okay.
probably, we beat this to death, I
Yeah.
think, for today. You know, we have these town talks. I do meet with people. We can come in and talk about things on an individual basis, or we can do this as a group. I think it's an idea that, you know, we'll get some people to watch it. We've been talking, you know, almost an hour. We really didn't come up with any conclusions.
I
but
bet you,
would-
I bet you our
Come
new
up.
town manager could watch this and decide on a forum that we'd all get invited
I
to.
think so too.
And
I think
let
what
Mi-
we're gonna do
Let
is,
Mr. Hicks, you know, start doing part of his job.
I think what we'll do is I'm gonna invite, Mr. Hicks to come into the studio next, time we do this, Town Talk Live. And, so that he can observe the people, that people have an opportunity, because it's hard, you know, to have 500 meetings with the town manager when we can do it in a forum where you can have a town hall and people can ask questions and stress their things. So maybe that should be the answer. So hopefully Mr. Hicks is watching our forum, or will we
He'll
see
catch
the-
it on
well,
Monday. or
he'll get an email in the morning. So so we want to do that, and but let's plan to do this again. Do we want to do it again next week? This is you know, for the Royal Examiner, you know, Saturdays work good because it's a little less stressful day for most businesses. But anybody have a problem with that? You think we should do it again? What's the
I think
I think we
consensus?
should do it again. It just might conflict with some classes that I'm doing, but
Right.
So I mean, I think that we should include more people.
Mhm.
And I don't know that we can do that here, Mike, but
Well, you know, we have this pandemic problem, and that's why we can only
Yeah,
have 10 people. That's why
that's a
we.
big problem.
I can have, we can involve in our broadcast. I can have 10 people in the broadcast. You know, we squeeze 3 in here. But when I say the broadcast studio, you see we have 3 people on the screen there. We could have as many as 10 people on the screen, but they can come and go in, you know, they can sit in the green room and we can bring them in and out. So we could have different people that want to talk on a particular topic. They can do it remotely. So we could, and we have the chat that people can be involved if the viewers want to ask a question that we could address to do that. So, you know, it's a good way to do it. I don't really particularly like virtual, but you know, I don't like to, I'd rather have somebody at least in the studio so I can shake my head to and you know, smile and talk to. So
well, there's all sorts of opportunities that are happening immediately. I mean, we got this chocolate crawl
That's right.
that's
That's right.
happening in February for Valentine's. You know, right behind that is St. Patrick's Day. So I think we need to move forward and try and perfect it along the way.
well, another thing too is regardless of how we do it, we'll come and we can live stream it to involve the community too, so that people will be aware. And a lot of these meetings that, 10 people show up to and no one ever knew about it or never seen it afterwards. So if we'll at least record them and stream them, I think the people that are
Communication is the key. It's the key, but we have to agree on what are the communication vehicles. And so if we can all know what the communication vehicles are, as imperfect as they all are, then we have a good list, then we can be confident that we're doing the best we can.
Can we
Right.
just
We have another comment here from Lewis, just joined us in. So he says, I'd definitely like to be part of doing something creative that the whole community can participate in.
Amen.
And I think that most people feel that way.
Yeah.
Here's a question here's a good one for you, Rick. How many people can you have in the theater, Rick? Could we meet there and space out?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Rick's all for that. But
No, we can't listen. So the governor says I can operate at 30% occupancy.
Okay.
All right. And I can
that's
tell you
60 people.
that most days I am at 5%.
Right.
So I'm nowhere near the 30%, but this is off hours. So,
Sure.
so I would happily, host a large group in my main auditorium that
Right,
seats
right.
237 people normally.
Right. So,
Okay.
we have ways to
we
do it.
agree that we can do this next Saturday, whether it's here or whether it's at the theater, the community center? We can post that in advance of.
And like I say, right, that may be something going forward. I think we have so many people though that just don't physically want to go anywhere.
Well, why don't we just say right now,
We'll have
if
it.
there's agreement, we could do it Saturday at 10 o'clock at the theater in the main auditorium. And this is your invite if you think that's the right way to go, Mike, because
The question is, do you have high-speed internet in the bottom of the theater that I can run a cable to?
well, if we don't, we will by Saturday.
All right. And I got to bring my lights and that's one thing nice. I can come to the studio. I don't have to let.
I understand.
Let's spend
I
3
took
hours setting
projectors out on the street
I
all
know,
weekend.
you know how it is. But I think
Can we, but just a question as far as emails, and since we're going to be putting this out there, is there a central place that we can have everybody send their email so that they will get an email in the future?
So
Right,
I
they
think
can send it to
I think
me.
Arlene, that's fantastic. If everyone's going to come on Saturday, as they come in the door, they need to fill out a sheet with their name, their business, and their email.
Yeah.
Let's
Well, we were
build the
talking
list.
about these before so that we can get these people there.
No, I
I mean,
know. If we
let's-
have them now, then we send them out. But
Let's-
let's start working.
let's
to get
do,
that concise email.
before we get ahead of the game, I think what we should do is let's contact Mr. Hicks on Monday and see if he'll come in. He may not want to come to a crowd of a bunch of
He
people.
doesn't, no, but he doesn't have to. We can keep moving forward. We'll do this thing on Saturday at 10 o'clock at the theater, as long as we have high-speed internet. But in the meantime, where should they send their emails?
Send get the link, send it to news@royalexaminer.com. And
Michael, start collecting
I'll
emails.
collect everyone and we'll send
Start
out.
building a
Because
list.
what we'll do is when I post this, or it's already posted, but we can do another post Monday and we'll put up a story and we'll talk about and announce the meeting coming up on Saturday. Then that post can be shared all through social media.
Right.
And that'll drive them back to our site where they can enter their information and keep us abreast of what's going. Click the links will all be there. Then I can collect them and then they'll get the invite out when it comes time to send the email out. But it's also on the site too. So when they click back to watch it, that's where they can, if they want to join, they can just click the link right there and get into it.
So just in the interest of having one more kind of thing, and that is there a different time on Saturday that would work for people? I know Arlene said, I got classes. For me, it has to, we're running a pandemic movie schedule. So we only have 2 shows on Saturday, one late matinee at 4 and
Right.
one evening show at 7. But
we could use your little theater too initially.
no.
Use the big
People can, that way they can be as far away from
That's
each
true.
other as
Okay.
possible. And it doesn't matter, anytime before like 3 o'clock. is good. So
After one for me is good because I usually have my classes in the morning.
Well, the thing is, I got a basketball game maybe on RMA next weekend.
Okay.
So we'll see if that conflicts.
So let's stick with the 10 o'clock for next weekend.
but we need to
10 o'clock.
remember that people have things
That's
they're
right.
doing.
That's right.
And so you need to modify it.
And
But they-
we will.
But they'll
Yeah,
still be
we
able
will.
to do it online. We'll have it online.
Yeah.
So if you can't break away, like Scott's in his office, he can't break away from the store, he can join online. So we'll have that opportunity where
Okay.
people will get the invite to participate.
We need to figure out, maybe we can put it right on the big, we can put Scott on the big
Well,
screen.
there you go. We can do that. We can take an output and feed the HDMI right there.
Yes, we can.
I'll set back in the projection booth.
Yeah, you might need an engineer though. That day.
Yeah, I know. I'm a little clunky on our
Look,
first.
little Johnny that's in grade school, he can help you.
Hey, Rick, if I do that, then I'm going to get some Marvel garb and y'all take a picture. That way I actually get proof I was in a
I
movie.
like it. I like it.
Kelly Walker says 10 a.m. or earlier.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. All right. Well, so anyway, like Willie said, 10 a.m. next
10
weekend.
10 a.m. next weekend. We'll lock that in, and then we can kind of
Figure it
adjust.
out from there.
And we can move and adjust for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all not going to be 100% happy, but we are all going to be 100% satisfied with what we're eating.
So
Which is
are you gonna fire the popcorn up?
Heck, sure, yeah.
Free popcorn.
Complimentary popcorn for everybody who shows
Now,
up.
buy them 4-gallon drinks. That's going to cost you $6.
Yeah, but you got to pay for your drinks.
Yeah. So, okay, I think let's wrap this thing up. I do appreciate everyone coming. We had some few participants online. Scott, thank you for jumping in. Arlene and
Thanks for
Sue
inviting me.
And Kelly, thank
and
you.
Kelly, appreciate your comments. And Lewis, I appreciate you joining in. And so we'll keep everyone posted. Again, it's been a pleasure to do this. I think it helps the community. You know, we had a small turnout this time, but it's kind of like the live streaming the ball games. You know, we'll get 50 people watching it live, but the next day I have 850 viewers of it. So, you know, where were they last night? But, you know, not everybody's going to do it. So hopefully tomorrow.
I use a DVR at home.
I know everybody. So we'll see what happens. And again, tune in next Saturday, 10 o'clock, and we'll be advertising it. And please participate in what's going on in your community, because if it helps one, it helps all.
It's our community.
You know, like I say, Front Royal is the heart and soul of Warren County, and we want to include the Warren County in on things. It's not just about downtown Main Street, Front Royal. You know, it kind of goes everywhere, permeates our community, and that doesn't
All
say
boats will rise.
all boats will rise. It'll help everyone, and I think everyone will benefit from it. And again, I appreciate everything. So with that, we'll go ahead and click the end broadcast button here, and we'll see everyone next Saturday at 10 o'clock.
Love you guys.
Sounds good.